Welcome to thebriefscoop.com. I am Karanja Gacuca, your host. We are joined today by Ambassador Dr. Arikana Chihombori Quao. Dr. Quao, welcome to the show.
Thank you, son, for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you here, even under the circumstances surrounding the terrible murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. We saw a murder happen live on video. Where do you see the African population, the African continent, African heads of states specifically, where does Africa and a response from Africa and Africans heads of state fall? Is there one? Should there be one?
Let me tell you, this is it's still quite a shock for me. As I speak, I struggle to hold back tears. Many occasions I've sat in my living room watching the video, and I'm at a point where now I cannot watch it anymore. I'm exhausted. As a mother, as a grandmother, I feel hopeless. I feel the hopelessness of black people in this country. This has been going on for so long. The question then becomes, to what end? To what end? It doesn't seem to just come to an end. At what point are we going to get a break? At what point are black people going to cease to be endangered species, especially black men? And as I sit back and trying to figure out what would be the beginning, I can't help but find myself going back to our ancestors, going back to our current kings and queens, and saying, you know, a wrong was done centuries ago. It's been 400 years, and yet there's not a single way, a single pathway, a single country that you can say, if the children of Africa could just have hope. You see, for the African American, you can only trace them to the plantation. Their names take them to the plantation. It's almost as if they're just like a ship that's all sails, but no anchor. Until they reconnect with their roots, until they know that I can wake up tomorrow and say, I want to go home to Africa, and they can go home. Why is it that we don't have that pathway? Why is it that we don't have that pathway? I woke up this morning, and that's the one thing that was on my mind, to say, if only there could be a pathway with this sense of hopelessness that I feel and see that's palpable among black people in this country, and not only in this country, even in Europe, where black people are being hunted like wild animals. But that white man was comfortable, that white police officer was quite comfortable, looking so relaxed with his knee on George's neck, killing him slowly for 10 minutes, hands in his pocket like no big deal. I feel the hopelessness. I feel the exasperation. I feel the tiredness. My question to the African heads of states, what can we do to bring hope to your children who are in the diaspora? What can we do to create a pathway for those who are descendants of the formerly enslaved to say, you know what? If the going gets tough, I can always go home to Africa. To you, African leaders, you have the power of the pen. You have the voice to give to your parliaments, to create a pathway for your children, descendants of the formerly enslaved, to come home, to re-anchor them so they don't continue to feel like they're lost in the wilderness. We have that responsibility to pave that path. To our kings, from the Oni of Ife to the Osei Tutu of Ghana, to King Zulutini of the Zulu people, to the King of Swaziland, all around the continent, the King of Morocco, please, I need you to take a moment and listen to the voices of your children in the diaspora. They have been calling to come home for over 400 years. Please answer their cries. They need to come home. And you can do it. To the African leaders, I say, please create a pathway, because your children have been crying for too long. I did not mean to cry, but this is very upsetting. The children of Africa must go home. Let's make it happen. African heads of states, I'm begging you, please fix this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arikana Chihombori Quao. I appreciate your passionate message. I cannot help but think that given the success of the year of return that we saw happen in Ghana in 2019, it makes me wonder what the other African heads of state are waiting for. Why isn't there a universal return, right of return to Africa for all the children of Africa?
Even with Ghana, there is no pathway. It was just a presidential decree. Just a presidential decree. So Mahama gave 35 citizenships. Nana Addo gave 126. There's not a single country that has a pathway. Not one.
Well, thank you so much for your very passionate message and very emotional message. I did not mean to get emotional as well.
Me too.
As a journalist. But it is that type of a moment. It is a somber moment. We pray for the family of George Floyd. But it shouldn't just end at prayers. It should end at action. Thank you so much. Your message could not be clearer. And we hope that it will be heeded. And I turn it over to you for a last word.
I would like to offer my condolences to the family of George Floyd, to the family of Arbery in Georgia, and to the families of many other young black men who have been murdered. My prayers are with you, and I want you to know that I'll do everything in my power to see to it that the children of Africa someday will go home, that they will have the hope that they have needed for so long, that this sense of hopelessness has got to come to an end. You have a home. You are not alone. We are with you. We will stay with you until victory is won, and that victory is going to come when the children of Africa can freely go back home to Africa. Hang in there. We are with you.
Couldn't be said better. Thank you so much, Madam Ambassador. And with that, we will close. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.